Hi everyone, my name is Yoonha Cha, a PhD student in informatics at University of California, Irvine. Today I'll be talking about our paper, Do You Want Me to Participate or Not? Looking into the accessibility of software development meetings for blind and low vision software professionals. Imagine that you're in a software development meeting, but the slides shared are not accessible. In this case, do you disclose your disability to ensure accessibility? Or do you try to navigate this access challenge on your own? Let's dive into the accessibility of software development meetings for blind and low vision software professionals. From existing work regarding blind and low vision developers, we know that most studies have explored solutions for accessible software development, such as making programming libraries and IDEs accessible, and to help BLV programmers navigate and understand code structure. Some studies also investigated the accessibility of non-programming aspects, such as information seeking and collaborative work experiences. Also from existing work about meetings in software development, the research community has found that meetings in software development are crucial to successful outcomes, fostering collaborative problem solving and communication, and that software development teams spend a large amount of time in meetings. From looking at existing research, we found that prior studies have not fully investigated non-programming tasks such as meetings, or positions other than software engineers like managers and accessibility specialists. Also, we found that research on meetings in software development have not yet been studied from the lens of accessibility for professionals with disabilities. Our work delves into these underexplored areas to reveal the specific challenges faced by blind and low vision software professionals in the context of meetings. To fill these gaps, we conducted a qualitative study to answer the research questions of what does accessibility look like in various types of software development meetings for blind and low vision software professionals? And what strategies do blind and low vision software professionals employ to make their meetings more accessible? We conducted semi-structured interviews with 26 blind and low vision software professionals, and we refer to them as BLVSPs in the paper and the presentation. Out of the 26 BLVSPs, 14 were totally blind and 12 identified as having low vision. Participants held a wide range of positions, some of them being software developers, managers, accessibility specialists, and more. For data analysis, we implemented thematic analysis by Braun and Clark. Although our paper discusses 4 main findings, I will only present a couple due to time constraints. If you're interested in the rest, please go check out our paper, which is accessible through a QR code on the last slide of this presentation and also accessible through the proceedings available on the ACM Digital Library. First, participants performed extra, sometimes substantial access labor before, during, and after meetings to make their software development meetings more accessible. First, BLVSPs, unlike their cited counterparts, had to do substantial preparation before meetings to overcome accessibility barriers. They requested early access to meeting materials such as agendas and slide decks from colleagues in advance, and memorized the materials prior to the meeting. Even when they put in the extra effort, inaccessible materials or activities during the meeting prevented them from keeping up or staying ahead of the conversation in meetings. As P2 shared, we were doing a design meeting. Although I'd done 2 hours of work beforehand, I wasn't 2 hours ahead of everyone else. To be honest, I was only ahead of everyone else for like the first 10 minutes. Then everyone else was just able to navigate the service a lot quicker than me. Is this the most effective place for me to be? During meetings, participants employed various strategies to get around inaccessible graphics, screen sharing, and software, but the workarounds didn't always work. For example, P12 described using optical character recognition, also known as OCR, to comprehend code in meetings, which is suboptimal. As he said, it's hard trying to get the meaning of the code through OCR, which is not optimized to recognize program code. It's optimized for standard human languages. That can be a little bit frustrating sometimes. Lastly, our participants often had to spend extra time after meetings to make up for inaccessible meeting activities and materials. Participants, including P24, explained catching up with missed content by scheduling another meeting with cited colleagues in addition to the time of the meeting that was already there. On top of performing access labor within and outside of meetings, BLVSPs had different perspectives about disclosing their disability in meetings. Participants described having to constantly weigh the trade-offs of disability disclosure to colleagues, supervisors, external vendors, and clients. While some chose to embrace disclosure, others reported performing extensive additional labor to avoid it. Unfortunately, in many cases, participants reluctantly disclosed because they felt they lacked better alternatives. This figure here is a diagram that illustrates our collective understanding of access labor, indicating the different nuanced layers of labor included within the access work of disability. BLVSPs navigate through the question of, should I disclose my disability? In every meeting that they participate in. The arrows show how they have to be thinking about this all the time. Some participants answered yes to the question of disclosing disability. For some participants, this makes their life a lot easier. As P18 shared, I just speak up for myself pretty quickly. I come off mute and be like, hey, blind guy here, if we're talking through this, let's talk through everything. I don't have a problem disclosing. It makes life a lot easier. However, even when they chose to disclose their disability, they still had to perform access labor around educating meeting participants about blindness, even sometimes occasionally scheduling additional meetings to discuss disability in detail. Even though disclosure could lead to benefits such as conveyed expertise and improved access, numerous drawbacks accompanied this choice, including wasted time, being pigeonholed, being presumed incompetent, being negatively evaluated, and being used as a bargaining chip. P19, who works for an outsourcing company, shared, many people don't understand what I can and can't do. They also find blindness as a negotiation point. They can try to use this to lower the price in negotiations with my boss. When participants chose not to disclose disability, they had to perform extensive workarounds and implement avoidance strategies such as conversational nudges to participate without surfacing their disability. For example, P12 shared that, I'll guess at what they're saying, but I'll say it in such a way that prompts them to clarify what they're saying, which can be weird if the answer is obvious on the screen, so I have to just be creative about it. If this worked, participants sometimes gained access with undisclosed disability. However, if that didn't work out, exclusion and inaccessibility caused participants like P24 to completely cease participation from meetings. In some cases, even when our participants performed extensive workarounds and avoidance strategies to avoid disclosure, they were outed by their own assistive technology as it interacted with collaboration software in meetings. P4 shared, sometimes I can't really do it. I hate to say it, but sometimes they're just beyond me. I have 2% vision, I have no central vision. Some situations I'm just not able to, see. If I can't do it and the situation is demanding, and there's no alternative than to disclose, I will say I'm blind. Being outed not only diminished our participants' autonomy, but it also carried with it the same burdens as voluntary disclosure. Explaining their disability, being pigeonholed and excluded from meetings, and the many other already documented potential risks of disability disclosure. As we can see from the diagram, regardless of participants' disclosure decisions, they almost always performed a substantial amount of additional access labor. So, where do we go from here? Based on our findings and discussion, we make some suggestions to reduce the substantial access labor of meetings and disability disclosure performed by blind and low vision software professionals, and to level the playing field as mentioned by P22. As a community, we should acknowledge that meetings are indeed a core component of work, as professionals spend a lot of their work time in meetings. We suggest that we ourselves, in our daily work, ensure that we follow accessible meeting practices. Also, for researchers in computing, we argue that as a community, we should focus more on meetings at work, including meetings in the context of other types of work, and how meeting accessibility and other social aspects of work impact the career development of professionals with disabilities. We found that meetings can be fast-paced, contain inaccessible content, and require complex tools and workarounds. For me, my future work includes creating tools to enhance the accessibility of software development meetings by taking advantage of AI and advanced existing tools. For example, AI-based tools that summarize meetings and help the interpretation of diagrams could change how BLVSPs engage in meetings, making it easier for sighted software professionals who couldn't attend meetings as well to get a summary or understand how arguments, designs, or decisions were made. Developing AI-based chat tools that educate colleagues about disability and assistive technologies is also a solution to relieve the burden of education that currently falls on the shoulders of professionals with disabilities. Implementing automated meeting invite systems that include information about company accessibility policies and suggest accessible formats or collect accessible meeting materials in advance also have the potential to significantly reduce the burden of access labor that falls on BLVSPs and be a stepping stone at changes made on organizational levels that impact workplace accessibility. With that, my presentation comes to an end. I would like to thank all my collaborators, Isabela Figueira, Jessy Ayala, Dr. Emory James Edwards, Dr. Joshua Garcia, Dr. André Hoek, and my advisor, Dr. Stacy Branham. Thank you for your attention.